And we got a big team in Florida, 200 agents, and an expansion team in Rochester, New York of how many agents are on? 20 or
20.
so?
Yep.
About 20 agents. And so what we're doing, what we like to do is basically making sure that we use these group mastermind calls not only just to work with you guys, but also to practice what we preach and stay in the trenches. And we have really big goals for 2021. We've been doing a lot of planning, and we're always trying to improve and get better ourselves. And if this is your first time on this group, we try to keep it interactive. We try to keep it fun, but impactful, where we walk away every single day with at least, or every single meeting with at least one strategy that we can take away and integrate into our business. And our rule of thumb is the 1% rule, where we're trying to get 1% better every single day. And so we're confident if you stick with it and you continue to come back week to week, you're going to get a ton out of it, and you're going to see your appointments go up. You're going to see your sales go up within a 90-day period of sticking with this group, and we're confident you'll get a ton of value out of it. So to dive into today's topic, I'm going to share my screen really quickly to give you an overview on what we're going to cover today. So I just want to get confirmation that everyone can see my screen. We good? Ron, give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay. Thank you, Tammy. So we've been talking a lot about the kind of the way that our industry has taught us to do business, which I think is antiquated, is this idea of a sales funnel, where we go out, we just purchase a bunch of leads, or we find kind of a strategy to go generate leads. And sometimes we pay a lot of money for those leads. We'll call them once or twice. We hope to cover the cost of that lead generation. And sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. And then a lot of times the lead just end up sitting there dead. Worst case, the deals that we do, and then what's even worse than that is the deals we do. Oftentimes what happens is we do a deal, we provide great service, and then we don't get testimonials, referrals, and they don't become a part of our marketing plan. And that really warm opportunity that person that we've developed a great relationship with, by helping them through one of the most complex events of their life, is just gone. And so I hope this resonates with some people, or I'm sure there's been instances where you found out maybe one of your past clients has done business with somebody else, or you've a referral that's done business with somebody else. And sometimes that's inevitable, but really what happens is a lot of times those things happens because of not anything that's necessarily our fault, but how we've been trained to think about business. And so the goal of this call, so to speak, or this mastermind workshop, is to get away from that thinking and focus holistically on this flywheel method, and look at making sure our marketing, our sales, and our service is all functioning in sync with each other, looking at the people, the process, and tools to do that. And then every week to week, we get a little bit better. We find better strategies to book more appointments, close deals, and get more referrals. So we have a 12-week topic or set of topics that we kind of rotate through to make sure that we're constantly getting better within our business and transitioning away from this model here. And so for today, I actually have Ben Lang with us. Ben Lang is actually part of my Rainmaker 2X program, where I take on one-on-one clients. So Ben and I have actually been working together for a little bit for the past 3 months or so. And Ben, why don't you just introduce yourself really quickly to the group?
Yeah, my name is Ben, Metro Detroit area. Been selling real estate the last 15 years.
Awesome. So what we've been working on with Ben is he really wanted to make sure his business was on focused on listings. And we've been really looking at the lead conversion side of it to, number one, making sure he's getting listing appointments and making sure those appointments have been closing. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about negotiation and providing great customer service. So if you want to write this down, topic today is negotiation and providing great service to get more referrals. Okay. So so in the flywheel, we're kind of in the sales and service section for today's topic. Okay. So Ben, you have a very specific case study to share with us today. And I think I want to start off actually with your inside sales associate that's working closely with you. I also want to introduce John Didio. So Didio, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. So with this case study, I want to break it down. I want to break it down step by step. But before we get into it, this ended up being a $300,000 listing. And then I believe you actually got another listing from it because of the service that you gave the client. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was actually it was a 360, and received an inbound call on Sunday from a neighbor that saw how fast it sold, and we also set a new record for the subdivision as well. So an inbound call that basically said, "Hey, will you work with me?" And of course, yeah, of course I will. So set the appointment last night, went out there, signed the 380 on the spot. They are also going to work with me to purchase a 400.
That's awesome. So essentially you're going to get 3 transactions off of one appointment.
Correct. That's correct.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who thinks that's pretty exciting, right? Getting 3 transactions off of one appointment. So we're going to use this as a case study and kind of build in the flywheel methodology within this, where essentially we want to put the client at the front of our business and provide great service so we can create stories like this. So Didio, walk us through the initial call and some of the objections that you got when I think it was a for sale by owner, right? That you called?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a for sale by owner. It was on the market for about 11 days. The guy was really hesitant about meeting an agent because he had heard, the way the market conditions are, you don't need a realtor to sell your home. So, I mean, I was really empathetic with it. And, at the end of the day, he also said if he was going to list with somebody, he had a friend that he was thinking about listing with.
So let's pause right there. How many times in the past have we not followed up on a lead, or maybe not tried to overcome an objection because they said they had a friend in the business, right? And so this is a good example of making sure that just because they give us that objection, that we don't just take that objection and just let them go.
Well, he actually said he had more than one. I think he said he had 2 or 3 friends in real estate,
Right.
Which is actually better to overcome that objection than just one person, because at the end of the day, if you do decide to list, you're going to hurt one of your friends, right? Well, why not list with somebody else who's non-biased and one of the best agents in that market who's selling properties in less than a week, typically above the list price. You get the job accomplished, you accomplish your goals, and you don't have to hurt any of your friends, right? You don't single anybody out.
So before we move on, let's hop into a quick role play on how to overcome that objection.
Mm-hmm.
So we can all take notes on it. Ron, if you could be the friend, or sorry, if you could be the homeowner, and just pick up as if you're in the middle of the call. And John, if it's not going to throw you off too much, I know it's hard sometimes when you're not in the call.
Mm-hmm.
If you could just basically use the language you use to get this appointment.
Okay.
So John, I know I got three friends that are already in the business,
Yeah, Ron, believe me, I completely understand that. I mean, at the end of the day, if you own a house, you're probably going to know somebody in real estate, right? Most likely, like you said, it's going to be a friend, maybe a family member, or somebody you work with in the past. But what you might not be aware of is in this market, 90% of the business, realistically, it's done by 10% of the agents. If you do decide to list with somebody, you got 3 friends in real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get their feelings hurt if you do decide to work with somebody and you aren't able to get done on your own. But why not get a second opinion from someone who's literally selling properties in less than a week? The reputation that he's built in this industry, people that work with him, they're typically putting anywhere between 3 to 6% more in their pockets at the end of the day anyways. And you already told me that the whole reason you're doing this on your own is you want to maximize your net and save on commissions. So, I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you get a solid price on this property, does it really make a difference who sells it?
Well, I guess not. I guess I didn't know. You're right. I have to choose somebody.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, I mean, Ron, the first step is just at least getting a good picture as far as what he can put in your pocket. And he's actually meeting some people in the area over the next couple of days. You mentioned that you were doing an open house, I believe, on Sunday. Why don't I do this? Why don't I have him stop by toward the end of the open house, maybe around 4:30? That way you can entertain any buyers that are there. And I'll have him run some numbers. And then who knows, maybe even he'll be able to put more money in your pocket at the end of the day. But it's at least worth having that conversation. Plus, with those numbers, you can even compare it to, you know, your friends. And at the end of the day, if you feel confident that it will benefit you to work with your friends, I encourage you, but it's at least worth getting that second opinion from someone who's non-biased, right? So with that being said, why don't I have them stop by around 4:30?
Oh, I guess so. I'll be there.
Okay. So, I mean, that was typically how the call went. It was an open house that Ben went out there. He had a good conversation, obviously. He didn't list it right on the spot, you know, due to his follow-up, which you preach. Obviously, you want to follow up. I think you listed it, what, 2 weeks later?
It was 2 weeks later. Yeah, he was very anti-realtor.
That's how the whole call was.
Yeah, when I showed up to the open house, I mean, he didn't want to do anything, but I just built a little bit of rapport. He didn't even want to talk to me, but I said, "Well, I'm here. Can you walk me through the house at least?" And just let him kind of go on his tangent, and then just chipped away at him for about 2 weeks. And wait, I mean, if you stay in front of them until they get worn down, that you just have to be there when they're tired of the FSBO is the key.
Yeah, definitely. Somebody asked if there's a recording of the role play. This is being recorded for sure, so you can go back and listen to it. I want to, Ben, just before we get to that story real quick, or that part, because I got some specific questions for you, Ben. I just want to get back to some key what I would call verbal advantage on how to overcome this objection. I probably personally got this one at least 500 times when I was making prospecting calls. I know, John, you probably got it thousands of times by now.
Yeah.
Right. But so the key here is the number one, to plant a seed of doubt that it could be more detrimental to work with a friend than actually a professional that is non-biased. So that's a key bullet point, is to get that point across. And the reason why is because sometimes it can be tougher to have a hard conversation with a friend or family member if they're not getting, if things aren't going the way that you want to, right? And then the second thing is the second key bullet point is the 90-10 rule, where 10% of the agents are doing 90% of the results. And if you can position yourself as somebody who specializes in working with homeowners on getting their homes sold, where most agents necessarily don't specialize in that. There's all different types of agents. And it's important that you get a second opinion from and this third bullet point, from a non-biased third party that will be able to give you a different perspective, because there's not necessarily any sort of biased relationship. If you get those 3 points out in that objection, usually it creates enough doubt to get in front of them, to plant that seed, to have that conversation. Ron, would you want to add anything else besides those 3 bullet points?
No, I just want to reinforce what John did was excellent. And obviously, because Ben did get the listing, the interesting thing though, I would almost bet money that seller never even thought about, I'd have to choose one of the 3. I can't hire all 3. And that's going to create a friction. Can you imagine if you have 3 family members?
Yeah.
I mean, you could destroy your family because of this, you know, and it's a lot easier for the seller to be able to say, hey, I didn't want to hurt anybody's feeling. He literally gave the guy the out. Now, Ben was astute enough to stay with it, chip away at the guy, and the guy was definitely not going to let himself, you know, I'm not going to appear easy to anybody, okay? But between the two of them, I think they did an amazing job of that.
That's great. Does anybody else have any follow-up comments or questions on this objection, this part, before we move on to my questions for Ben? I'm just trying to peel back the onion here, so I want to give everybody an opportunity to make sure that we're on the same page before we go to the next part, so we can get the most out of this case study. So Good. Ben, you showed up to the open house.
Yep.
Most agents would have been like, why am I here? Why am I wasting my time? Right? A lot of
I'm
agents.
sorry, Isaiah.
Yes, Ann,
I
go
was
ahead.
trying to unmute myself. I'm a technomoron, but I missed the part as to why John was making the appointment for Ben.
John works with Ben. John is his inside sales agent. So
Okay.
he makes appointments for Ben. Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yep. You're welcome. Yep. John is a seasoned veteran. He also is a team leader. We're working towards that position within our company. So he's hopping on here, giving us some insight to what he's doing on a daily basis too. So
Yeah, I think Ben got like 8 listings over the last 2 months, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say John is insanely good at what he does. I think me and John are gonna destroy 2021.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to you making me a lot of money.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So Ben, you're at this open house. John sets up an appointment for, what's the mindset of this homeowner when you're talking to him?
And he was just tough. He was so tough. Just body language was, I mean, arms crossed, at the front door, like, I just had to tread so lightly with him. There was no close that day, and I knew it right out of the gate. But the last 15 years I've been doing this, the closes 9 times out of 10, like last night I went and I knew that I was going to be able to close it at the first meeting, but 9 times out of 10, a lot of the close is in the follow-up, is from what I found. Especially with FSBOs, because they're FSBO because 9 times out of 10 they're anti-realtor. They've had a bad experience, or they don't believe in what we do and the results that we can get them. So I'd say even with that FSBO market, it's that statement is even truer.
Cool. So Ben, with this, how did you warm them up? Walk us through the process of what happened from the time that you showed up.
Yeah, questions. I mean, no statements. The more questions that I asked, the more he started to kind of ease up. I wasn't really, that day I knew that I should be light on the statements, really light on the statements, and just find out more and more and more, and use that in my follow-up calls to grab him.
If you remember, what are 3 questions you think opened him up to and built some rapport and help you identify?
Definitely, where you plan on heading, what's taking you there, compliments on the house. You finished the basement. Wow, this is amazing. Really like what you've done. If you ask them why they're moving, that's like a whole big long conversation.
Yeah.
So
let's go into a role play on that. So I'm here for the open house. I'm going to pretend like I'm the homeowner. Okay, Ben?
Yes.
And I'm going to be a little bit standoffish, but I won't be a royal prick to you.
Okay.
So yeah, well, Ben, as you can see, I'm at an open house, and quite frankly, I was hesitant to take this appointment in the first place. And so I don't even know if I want to use a realtor. I'm still going to try to sell this on my own. So I don't want you to waste your time. I know you're here already, but I don't want you to waste your time.
Absolutely. I get it. Completely makes sense. But since I'm here, do you mind if we take a walk through the home?
No, I guess it can't hurt anything. No.
Great. So, I mean, tell me about what you did here. I really like, this piece of furniture. I like your style. It seems like you have like this farmhouse style. That's how I just did my house. I just bought a new house and I just redid the whole thing with the same, sticking with that farmhouse. Does your wife, she made these? Well,
yeah, that's more of my wife's design than mine, but happy wife, happy life. So,
Absolutely. I get it. I just went through a divorce. So, that before. I'm learning. Maybe you could teach me.
Yeah, well, let's get a cup of coffee sometime, and I'll go through some bullet points.
So, you know, as we're walking through it, so then I'm peppering the questions. It's so,
Yep.
hey, so I was wondering, you know, you've been on market for 11 days. How many people have you had come through the house?
I've had a couple. One of them was supposed to present an offer. Another one did, but then didn't end up qualified. I guess had some sort of loan issue.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that sometimes, unfortunately, that happens quite a bit with the for sale by owner.
So try to walk us through what actually happened, like in the conversation from there.
That really was it. Like, he really did have that farmhouse. So I was trying to create rapport because I really did just redo a house and did like the farmhouse style. So
nice.
You know, I'm trying to create or identify similarities between us. Yeah. To create rapport. So
a couple important things when it comes to negotiation and getting to negotiation. I know we're kind of taught like we should be building rapport. And one of the things that I found, I actually did a case study on some of the top 100 closers that were in my network. And the number one thing before they would actually do a presentation, they would not go into a presentation until they actually felt like they had rapport and they found pain and motivation. It was their number one rule. And they were extremely good listeners and very empathetic. So I know we know those things and we hear those things, but I just want to reiterate that within this case study, because if we're not focused on the first step of the sales process, which is building rapport, finding pain and motivation, the whole rest of it can go south. And we won't know why they didn't answer the phone when we followed up. We'll think the presentation went well, right? All those things will be there. Most likely, if that follow-up doesn't go well, is because something happened where we clearly did not point out how we can help them by focusing on their pain and motivation, and we didn't have strong enough rapport. Most likely, those are the two big reasons why deals go south. Would you guys agree? If we sit back and think about it, right? Does that make sense to everybody?
How I got my wife to marry me.
What was that, Don?
How I got my wife to marry me.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
You mean you were the pain?
You were the pain.
It's true.
Yeah. We'll end that conversation right there. How about that? So, good, Ben. This is great. So,
I'm curious. Do you mind if I ask? Why are you selling? And that was probably another 15, 20 minutes. I ended up staying there for 45 minutes probably.
That's good. Yeah. The big question my favorite question is, it looks like a really nice home. I'm just curious why you decided to sell it. And they usually open up. Another piece of psychology that's so important is, before you ask a question, you have to have a reason why you're asking the question. And it'll diffuse a lot of pressure. So if you're just going in asking questions, it'll come across sometimes as if you're jabbing at them or probing. But if you just cushion it a little bit, what I call cushioning, a lot of times they'll be more likely to open up to you. And it can be the simplest reason. Using the word because, or different things along the lines that justifies why you're asking, will help them open up to you. So if you listen to how that question got framed, if I was talking to John and I said, John, hey, look, this looks like a really nice home. I'm just curious. That stupid little line, I'm just curious. They're going to be more likely to talk to me about it than if I just said, and me complimenting them before too. That's another important part. If I just said, hey, John, why are you selling this house?
Just downsizing.
right? You're not going to give me as much, and you're going to be like, why is he asking this question, right? But if I say, John, it looks like a really nice home. I'm just curious. Why did you decide to sell the house?
Oh God. Well, I got about 12 acres and I hate mowing a lawn. So I need to get into something that's a little bit more manageable.
Thanks.
You
Yeah,
know?
absolutely.
And I
So
hate the snow.
I hope we're picking up on the psychology that Ben's talking about too. The question is only as good as how you ask the question. That's what I want you guys to write down. The question is only as good as how you ask the question. I've had people ask a phenomenal question and gotten shot down and broke rapport because of how they asked the question. Beverly, did you want to add anything? I saw you shaking your head.
That was a golden line, and if nobody wrote it down, you need to say it again, because I always say he who's asking the questions controls the conversation. Because when you're asking the questions, to your point, you're putting them in that mindset of making them inquisitive. And I loved what John said about, well, you have 3 friends, you're gonna have to choose. It's when you are able to break through to the pain and be the solution before they even realize there's a problem, you win every time, right, John?
Yep.
And you've been doing this so much that you know the objection before the lead even knows the objection.
Yeah.
Just based on situations. There's only so many situations you have.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Thank you, Beverly. That's good. Ben, so getting back into where we're at here with this specific case study. So you had a 45-minute conversation, you built rapport. What was his pain and what was his motivation?
Yeah, I mean, he needed to move. He already has a house, so
So he's paying 2 mortgages?
Yeah, he needs the house sold.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's some pain there. How long did he try to sell it on his own?
He was, when I first went to the open house, it was 11 days. So it took another 2 weeks for him to really, and I probably talked to him 4 times in that 2 weeks.
Okay, so let's walk through the follow-up. You left that meeting. How did you stay in touch with him? What was your process of follow-up? Because that's usually where the deal goes south too, right?
I called him. I called him every 4 days, and just said, hey, I'm just checking in. How are things going? Have you gotten any offers yet? How many showings have you gotten since I last talked to you?
Did you put them in your calendar? Is that what you did? Is you had them on a drip, or you put them in your calendar to follow up with?
My calendar for calls.
Yeah. So this is another thing too that we find a lot, even in our brokerage, right, Ron, where our agents will go out on an appointment, and if there's not really good follow-up and sincere follow-up, an agent will slip in there and get the listing on us, or they'll actually lose respect for us because they're analyzing everything we do subconsciously or consciously from that meeting. They're analyzing, they're seeing if you're a true professional, and how you follow up is going to be an indication in their mind of what kind of customer service you're going to deliver.
100%.
So if your follow-up is poor, if our follow-up is poor on our team, that sends a signal to them to say, well, if they can't even follow up to get the deal, how are they going to follow up when they do get the deal with our service? Right? It's a really
pointed out too, like when I show up to an appointment, the first words out of my mouth, hey, we have an appointment at 3:00, and it's 3:00. So I'm saying I'm on time. And then with the follow-up call, hey, I told you I would call you today. And so I'm making sure that I made that call to you today.
right. You're affirming that they can trust you.
Remind them that you're doing what you said you were going to do.
Yeah, that's strong, man. That's awesome. So just making sure there's follow-up. I like that, Ben. And just give us a couple lines. I think you did a little bit on what you would say when you followed up.
That's it. I mean, literally, hey, I'm just checking in. How are things going?
Good.
And
Very simple.
that's what I do with everybody.
Yep. That's great.
I just want to add that's the subliminal way to win them, because you're showing value, because you only have to be a little bit better than your competition.
Yeah.
and we know our competition doesn't follow up.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true.
So you don't really have to be that much better. It's just that follow up.
Yeah, that's so true. Ben, how did it go from there? Did he call you back? Was it a follow up call?
I didn't even get him on a follow-up call. So he called me and he said, "Hey, I talked to the wife. We're ready to list. Can you come over and we'll get everything going?"
Awesome. Let's give Ben a round of applause for that. That's just really great. That's really great work. That's really great work. So what's your process now as far as providing customer service? And you obviously did a great job, got sold quick, and you got a call from the neighbor. So walk us through the process after you got the listing.
Man, so it's kind of a long process. So I always list on Friday. I'm always having photos done Saturday, photos and video, Saturday or Monday. I start pre-market, social media ad on Tuesday, always. Coming soon listing on Tuesday. It goes live on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday open house. I have 5 agents that host for me.
Ben, if it's okay, could you just start from the beginning, go a little bit slower for people taking notes?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So I always list on Fridays. I've been doing that there was a major study done that said, if you list on Fridays, people are going to be online Friday night, Saturday. So you'll be at the top as far as visibility online. So I don't know. It's just something I've always done. I always list on Fridays. But so I have photos, video done. Well, first it's a staging consult. So I pay a stager $200 on my dime. And I use that staging consult a lot of times to get listing docs signed. Like let's get the stager over here and get things going. But you understand, like I can't write the stager a check until we have a valid contract. So
what a great close. That's a great close.
So it's staging consult first, then it's photos, video. I'm communicating quite a bit. My stager just gives them a checklist and also copies me on it. It's move this here, move that there, take these photos down. It's no money, right? So it's just what to do. Have the grout cleaned, clean the windows, stuff.
So you have a checklist you give them.
Yeah, well, my stager gives them that checklist.
Your stager gives them the checklist. Okay.
Then I give them the prepare for photos. I give them that checklist. So, like I said, photos, video, Saturday or Monday, I have them in my inbox for Tuesday. Send everything to my marketing guy. He writes the remarks. He does I do $150 spend, but he creates the Facebook ad that's running Tuesday through Sunday.
I want to pause you there. Okay.
Yep.
Is that all right? So just so you guys know, if you guys want a cost-effective way to run Facebook ads and you want to do it with ease, some of you may know this, you may not. We actually have a Facebook ad builder right in the software that you guys all have with your membership. And you can launch a just listed, just sold ad campaign, or you can market that listing with a few clicks of the button right from the software that you have with us. And if you want to know how to do that, you go to if you need help doing it, just put in a support ticket at support@rapsuccess.com. And Jonathan, how long does it take to get that set up to market the listing? Would you say your first time doing it, but then maybe once you get used to doing it?
I've done a video step-by-step through the whole thing. That video took about 15 to 17 minutes and I was going pretty slow. The first time I walked an agent through it took about 10 to 12 minutes. Now they can put one together depending on how much detail you want to add. If you're in a hurry, you can do it in 3 to 5 minutes. If you really want to break it down into the most detailed it can be, 10 minutes is more than enough time to do that. Blast it out there. You don't have to touch it again.
Awesome. And if they go to support, do we have support at Real Estate Nexus .io up and running yet or no?
No, they want to use support at rapsuccess.com.
Okay. So support at rapsuccess.com. Just so everybody knows, rapsuccess.com is becoming our holding company. So we're just going through a little bit of a brand shift. So if you hear Real Estate Nexus, out there. That's why, as we're just going through a little bit of a corporate shift here. So good. That's great. So I would definitely highly encourage you guys to use that tool. It's already included with your membership, and it's really nice because you don't have to interact with Facebook manager at all. And it puts the ads up on Instagram as well. So it's really simple to use. So check it out. Take advantage of the service. Try it out to see if it works for your business. So Ben, what's the next step once you've got the ad launched?
Yeah, so the ad is promoting the Saturday and Sunday open house, and I'm holding it open from 1 to 4 or 12 to 3 on Saturday and Sunday, so a total of 6 hours. The reason that I'm doing that is when it goes live on Friday in my MLS, I can do reverse prospect. So as soon as I publish my listing, it will generate all of the agents who have a search set up for a buyer looking for a listing just like mine. So on Friday, I'm sending out an email to all of those agents saying, hey, you have a buyer for my listing. It's going to be open for 6 whole hours this weekend. Send your buyer through. We'll do all the work. You write up your offer and make your full commission without ever having to show it.
Wow.
And that's been pretty powerful for me. I've gotten a lot of deals done that way.
Wow.
Because we're saving the buyer's agent. They can spend time with their family or whatever the deal is. And then I copy my seller on that email too. So throughout the week, I'm sending them a copy of the Facebook ad. I'm sending a single property website. I'm letting them review photos and video, making them part of the process. And then, like I said, I have 5 agents who will host for me, and they're more than happy to do so to get new business. So I never have to host. So a lot of times this year, we've had acceptable offer by end of the weekend. Probably more times than not.
That's awesome. So a key thing that I like, I think makes a huge difference, is you keep the seller informed every step of the way.
Yeah.
I know for us, we actually have a marketing calendar that we share with the seller, so they know what we're doing, when we're doing it. They know when things are going to happen, and then there's a check-in, and all that's really important. And it's little things, but remember, it's not just about getting the home sold. It's about the experience that you give them while you're getting the home sold. That's the difference between somebody who does a job and somebody who provides a great experience. And the world is so competitive today. And if you don't pick up anything else today, this is a lesson I learned the hard way. And a lot of my previous business ventures and different things I've done in the past is that it's not about providing the customer your service. It's about the experience you give them as you're providing them the service. And so we as professionals have to be constantly thinking through little things that we can do to make that experience better. And my team knows I've become a raving lunatic over this methodology. So, and if our customers, and finding ways to make that experience better, and if I sniff that it's not good, we address it right away. And we think, okay, how can we make it better? And that's actually where these group coaching calls was birthed out of thinking of ways to try to make our client experience better, as an example. So I think that's awesome. And that's what's also going to make sure that our flywheel is functioning the right way, is that we're not just getting a deal, but that deal then becomes a part of our referral marketing. And we're going to, in other group coaching sessions, we're going to go over cutting edge referral marketing strategies so you can get more referrals out of your past clients. That's for a different session, but that'll never happen if they didn't have a good experience, right? And it's not just because the home got sold. You guys would be shocked how many people you surveyed in your past client database if it was an anonymous survey, right? You'd be shocked at some of their answers or that they would give you based on the experience that they had, right? So it's just really, really important to think through that. And I would encourage you, if you want to know the truth about the experience, especially if you're building a team, send them a little 2-question survey at the end of the closing. And it's easy to do. You can build it through a Google form. And there's a lot of other ways to get to technology, and just ask them 2 questions, right? Number 1, what went well? How can we, or actually, John, what 2 questions do we ask again? How is that worded? I want to make sure we're wording. Just, you could ask them this way: how was your experience? And how likely are you to refer me to somebody else? Those 2 questions you could ask them. How was your experience throughout the process? On a scale of 1 to 5, you could say. And how likely are you to refer us to somebody else? And that'll give you some really powerful insight to what's happening. So Ben said, here's a list of questions that may help when writing a review. Okay, awesome.
It's an email that I send out, but there's some good questions in there.
That's great. Good. So you got them an offer quick. It sounds like they had a good experience, right? Ben, with you?
Yeah.
Okay. You said you're getting a lot of testimonial videos.
Yeah, well, I've gotten 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you said, or maybe you were saying written testimonials.
I'm getting a lot of written testimonials. I'm just sending this email out. I'm giving them links to 5 links: Facebook, Zillow, Realtor.com, Google, and Yelp, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty much all writing their reviews. But I just send them these questions. I don't know.
Good. So then what happened after that? You got a call randomly from the neighbor?
Yeah. He called on Sunday, and he said, "Hey, I've been watching this house since you listed it. And I noticed you sold it pretty quickly and for more money than I actually thought we could get in this neighborhood.
That's cool.
Could we talk about my house?" And so I just set the appointment. I said, "Yeah, of course. How's Tuesday night?"
And then he's going to buy a house. He's going to buy a house too.
So I went there last night with listing docs in hand because, I mean, it seemed like it was closable on the spot. So walked in and started with the questions again, and felt like I didn't show them that I had listing docs, but at a certain point in my head, I'm like, oh man, I could close this right this second. No problem. And then so I said, well, great. Are you ready for me to get working for you? And they said, yeah.
That's great.
That was it.
So I want to give Ben one more round of applause, because I think this is just an awesome job. And thanks. Thanks for taking the time too, Ben, for sharing that with us. And one of the things that I want our takeaway to be is, if you notice how we dissected this case study, this is something that we do frequently throughout our business and throughout organization, because when you break down it step by step by step, you can start pinpointing with more accuracy how to improve, and you can pick out the golden nuggets, so to speak, of what happened throughout the process and the deal. So by breaking it down this way, who got at least one thing that they took away from this conversation that they can go apply to their business by breaking it down this way? Only 2 people? Okay. Okay. All right, Isaiah, you need to work on your training skills. So no. Good, guys. I'm glad you guys got some things out of it. Does anybody have any? Yeah, we got people in the chat saying, yes, I got a lot out of it. Yes. Awesome. Great. Here's I want to encourage you to take an action step on a piece. You can just do it on a simple piece of paper, or if you're more techie, if you want to just do it on draw it out on like a map with a graph. But just break down on a piece of paper your process, your process. And if you're more on the buyer side, just do this on the buy side. Your process from the time that you make contact with the lead to the time that it closes, and how you're following up, and ask yourself honestly to say, how good are we at this step? And then take that and pin it up on your wall and just try to get a little bit better each time you're interacting with the client, and making it a little bit better each time with that 1% rule. And if you have a team, having conversations around that survey, right? That survey that goes out with the feedback that you're getting at each step, and have fun with it. Okay. I'll give you a word of caution. If you haven't done this exercise before, it can feel a little bit overwhelming once you map it out. So, because you start seeing all the different things you want to work on, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I want to work on it all at once, right? And you can get that feeling of being overwhelmed. Be encouraged. Just don't feel like you got to solve the world's problems, right? And solve all the problems in your business overnight, because it's just not going to happen. And don't make the mistake that I have. And Ben, if I can be transparent, you and I work on this a lot. It's staying focused on one thing or two things at a time, right? If I can be transparent, Ben, is that all right?
I was just having that conversation with a friend of mine. Like I had my business in probably 12 or 13, right where I wanted it, and then I wanted to coach. I wanted to own a broke. Like I've been dealing with that problem for a long time.
So it's staying focused on the mission and what's in front of you, and getting a little bit better each day on each area. And that's the whole psychology of the flywheel. So I just want to spend a little bit of, I want to give everybody a chance just to have a little bit of open Q&A, and ask any questions in the last 15 minutes here before we wrap up.
Oh, I've got that one question about.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Yeah. So for my clients that I've closed in 19 and 20, I've just been feeling like very blessed. And so I wanted to do something kind of big for those closed clients in 19 and 20 this holiday season. And I was just looking for ideas.
So does anybody, if I'm hearing you right, does anybody have any a good past client campaign or ideas on how to engage the past clients during the holidays? Is that what I'm hearing, Ben?
I'm looking for like a cool like gift, like thank you gift.
A bottle of wine or champagne.
Yeah, I mean to me that's not creative.
Not creative enough. Yeah.
So Ben, I have a couple of clients who are raving fans of the company Client Giant. You just submit a list of addresses, and they actually have a variety of different gifts that they send: closing gifts, holiday gifts, anniversary gifts, all of the shebang. So if nothing else, you can probably get a couple of great ideas from there. I have about 4 different clients using them right now. They all swear by it.
Okay, cool.
And I'll put that
John,
link in the chat as well.
Could you refer those clients to Ben if Ben wanted to call them?
Absolutely. I could do that for sure.
That's great. So it was clientgiant.com.
Yes,
right?
I'm dropping the link in the chat as well if anybody wants to check those out.
Yeah, I think that's something that I've taken. Ron, I've taken. I don't know how good you were with this, Ron, in the past, but I think that, again, we're talking about the little things, the client experience. This is a little thing that makes a big difference, right? So Ben, I'm glad you're thinking about this. This is good. This is good. Speaking of Christmas presents, I got a Christmas present coming to everybody within a couple of weeks. We have the 2021 sales and marketing plan right now. It's just virtual. We've never done a printed copy. Everybody is going to get a free version of the 2021 sales and marketing playbook. With all the updates. It has all the major holidays on it. It has suggestions on what to send to your clients. It gives messaging. All the marketing content is in it. All the scripts and the dialogues for any type of prospecting script. So it's a whole playbook. It's about 100-page kit that's designed to last you for a full 12 months. So you'll get the printed version. You'll see that come in your mail within a couple weeks. So be on the lookout for it. Cool. All right, 12:06. Anything else?
Professional services actually got a question coming in via email, and they wanted to know, can they invite team members to be part of the training in here as well? And the answer is, of course, absolutely. Anybody on your team, admin, brokers, even people that are just friends in the office, anybody who wants to participate in this, absolutely send over their information to support@rapsuccess.com. Same place we always send everything, and we'll make sure they get registered for this training as well.
Yeah,
And,
that's a really
make
good.
sure that
That's a
everybody
really good point. That's a really good point. We'd highly encourage you to invite your agents. If you have an inside sales agent, if you have a marketer, we try to make sure there's the conversation is broad enough that those three profiles, so to speak, can get a lot out of this. You know, so each session's a little bit different, but I think that your whole team can get a lot out of this, particularly if you're an admin, an inside sales agent, or if you have an agent on your team, they would get a lot out of this. So, Ron, any thoughts to wrap us up here before we exit for the week?
Real quick, and again, kudos to Ben. But what he did by, he has his system in place. He stuck to his system. And what he did is he convinced that seller without saying a word by his actions that he was thinking and working on his listing daily. And how did he get it sold so fast? Because he did have a system in place. It was field tested and it worked. And the seller knew every single minute, no matter if he was talking to Ben, didn't see Ben, didn't know where Ben was, that Ben was working on his listing. And I commend you for that, because I'll tell you, we teach that so hard that, you put a sign in the yard, you walk away, you're busy as hell trying to get that listing marketed, sold, whatever. And the seller doesn't know what you're doing. And that was what we use as a marketing calendar. Basically says, this is what we do every single day. We touch your listing somehow. Ben, you did it. You're proof. I'm going to use your experience in my own training, if it's okay with you, because you did an amazing job. Your system was wonderful. I'm really impressed. Really, really am.
Thank you.
Who would find it helpful if there was a step-by-step process mapped out on a piece of paper of Ben's process? Would you guys think that if we took the time to do that, that'd be valuable for people? Okay. Jen and me, Mark says yes. Okay. So Ben, if it's okay with you, I'm going to have my marketing coordinator call you. And what we're going to do is actually, Clara, could you have Sam call Ben and just develop a rough draft of that document so give it drawn up? And I'd like to try to make a commitment to have that document available for anyone who shows up here next week.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I can coordinate that as well.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. So we're 12:09. We're a little bit early here, but I think we covered a lot of ground, and I think this is great interaction. And guys, come back each week. We're having sessions like this on different topics of our business. And hopefully you got a lot out of it today. If there's anything that we can do better to make this experience better for you, then we want to know about it. So let us know in support, or even drop something in the chat. Also to encourage the people that put this together, if you felt like you got a lot out of it, let us know that as well. We greatly appreciate it. And with that, have a great week. I want to end with this thought. The holidays are crazy. Make sure your team is focused and you're focused on building momentum going into January. Fill that pipeline. Look at your sales and marketing plan. Don't take your foot off the pedal too much where you lose momentum in your business, because we all know this. What happens, what the activities that we do today are a direct reflection usually of where we're going to be 3 months from now, because that's just how real estate works. So it's so important not to make sure we don't lose too much momentum in the holidays. So I just want to encourage you guys, don't take your foot off the pedal. Keep up the good work, your work. If you have a daily sales and marketing plan and you're just being honest with yourself, maybe you're not following it as close as you should, take a good look at it, or meet with your team, whatever it may be, to keep that momentum going, because we want to make sure that January we just hit the ground running and we can take off. So with that, I hope everyone has an awesome rest of your week, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 11:15 Eastern Standard Time. And thanks for everyone's participation.
Thanks, Isaiah. Take
Yeah.
care.
Thank you. See ya.
Oh, I thought it was.